What's up, my fellow LTD addicts? Let's talk about Clearout. Clearout is an email validation tool that'll help you keep your deliverability up while keeping your email marketing costs down. There's currently a lifetime deal running at AppSumo, and in this video, we're going to take a look deep inside the software and see how it performs. We'll also speak to an email marketing expert to tell us his thoughts on email validation. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Dave from ThatLTD.life, where I review software tools with lifetime offers. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscription button and click the notification bell so you get notified when new reviews are posted. To follow along with what I'm doing here today, you can click the link in the description. All right, let's get right to it. Here is Clearout presented by AppSumo. This is a $49 entry-level price here. Of course, there is some stacking options available. For $49, you are going to get 10,000 daily email verifications. Now, there is a lifetime cap on this where you can only validate up to 500,000 email addresses. Now, I say only, that's an awful big number. If you're new to what email verification is, stay tuned. We're going to dig a lot deeper into that subject later in this video, and it'll help you decide whether you really need to be validating your emails or not. So as you stack the codes, basically you're getting multiples of these numbers. The one benefit being is if you stack all the way to 10 codes, your daily limitation goes away. So you're going to be getting 5 million total email verification credits, and you could use them just in one shot. Obviously, it would take a bit of time to process 5 million email addresses, but there you go. You'd be able to do it all in one shot, and that would be $490. All right, I've already got my account set up here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So here's what the software looks like on the back end. It's a pretty nice looking UI. This is the dashboard where I can see all of my statistics. Then I can see the lists that I have uploaded, and we'll be uploading a list here in a moment. There's this new feature here called Lead Finder, and I can tell it's new because there's a badge in the menu bar. And the point of this is to help you with your cold email outreach. No longer, apparently, will you need to rely on third-party tools to do scraping and pulling in email addresses. Instead, Clearout will do the work for you. In the little search box, you can see you've probably been watching, it auto-completes these search examples where you can enter in a profession and a location. And the idea is that Clearout would then provide you a list of email addresses that match that category. Now, I'm going to be testing all of this out, but I just wanted to give you the lay of the land, how the software works here. The last tab over here is for integrations. Currently, the only two integrations that are live are Zapier and MailChimp. It looks like they're going to have a whole host of integrations here in the future. I can see things like ClickFunnels, Mautic, Drip, a lot of the big email marketing, ActiveCampaign is there as well. A lot of the big email marketing tools are planned to integrate. So ideally, you'd be able to validate your emails and then just send them right back over to your email marketing tool. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to go over to my list here, and here's kind of what I have in mind. I used an email verification tool called Bulk Email Checker. And so I've got some email lists that I've scraped here. This one in particular is for plastic surgeons that are on Facebook. And I've run this through the Bulk Email Checker. And this is a pretty small list. You can see it's 155 people. And I was able to validate 105 email addresses, 32 failed, and then 18, it came back as unknown. So I figured, why don't we take this same list and run it through Clearout and see what results we get. We can kind of compare how the tools work against each other. Now, before we get into the actual validation, I thought it would be nice to do a comparison on price. So here is Bulk Email Checker's pricing page, and you can see that for 500,000 emails, you'd be looking at about $280. So that's definitely a significant increase over Clearout's pricing with AppSumo. Now, let's see how the tools compare. So I'm under my list inside of Clearout. I'm going to click here to add a list, and then I'm just going to drag and drop the list right into Clearout, and it says it's completed. Let's go to my list here. Okay, so after I refresh the page, I can see that the list has been uploaded, and let's go ahead and verify this. So I'll say the verification is going relatively quick. However, it's playing a little bit of the old Windows loading screen. If you ever remember installing software back in the day, when software was installing, it would load up to about 98%, and then it would kind of pause. So I've been waiting here. It looks like it just finished up. I was waiting there for a couple minutes. Now, email verification can actually take a long time. Bulk Email Checker actually offers a speed up. You can actually pay extra. I think it's like double or even triple the credits. I should probably check on that. So just to be sure here, I went and I uploaded the same spreadsheet to Bulk Email Checker, and it's telling me it's going to take 15 minutes and 55 seconds to clean the list. Now, I'd say it probably took about 2 to 3 minutes with Clearout, so you're already looking at a lower price per email validation, and it's about 5 times cheaper. Now, Bulk Email Checker does give me the option to boost the completion time, basically cutting it down by 66%, getting this done in about 5 minutes if I pay 775 credits versus the original 155. We'll do the math on that quickly. That is a 5x price increase. That's pretty dramatic. Now, that's not to say there's not value here, that Bulk Email Checker is ripping me off. This is a tiny list, right? This is 155 people. If you get 155,000 people, you might be looking at a few days to get that list processed. And if you can cut that down inside of 8 or 9 hours, maybe that'd be really valuable to you or to your client, and then it might be worth the money. However, if you get the same speed with Clearout at a lower price per credit, well, then the only question is it doing as good of job? So let's just run the numbers here quickly. You can see that Clearout says 80% of the list is valid. However, Bulk Email Checker says that only about 67% of the list is valid. So there's definitely a bit of a concern to me. I wonder why Bulk Email Checker is being more strict than Clearout. Now, of course, I'm going to show you the lead finder aspect of this tool in just a moment, but I was lucky enough to be joined by Daniel Reifenberger, an email marketing expert, just a few minutes ago. Daniel told me about how email verification is important to his business. All right, LTD addicts, we are fortunate enough to be joined by the founder and chief strategist of email marketing agency Loyal Tribe. This is Daniel Reifenberger. Daniel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about Loyal Tribe, the clients you work with, and just so we can kind of get an idea of who we're speaking to.
Yeah, absolutely. So Loyal Tribe is a company that helps e-commerce businesses build loyal tribes of fanatic customers that purchase from them over and over again. Just some cool stats about email marketing. So someone who spent money with you before is 4 times more likely to spend money again, and they're going to spend about 1.5 times as much money. So we work with companies that already have their front end figured out as far as bringing customers in, and then we help increase lifetime value and average cart values for customers with email marketing.
Cool. So it sounds like you've given this lecture before. You've rehearsed these statistics. I like it. So what are some of the, can you talk about some of the clients that you work with? Are you able to disclose that, or is it kind of a don't ask, don't tell type of situation?
Yeah, hopping on this call, I don't have permission to mention my clients from them.
Sure.
But what I can tell you is primarily they're anywhere from $10 to $100 million a year brands. And they're all brands that have their own e-commerce presence on their own site, on Amazon, and in brick and mortar. So they're fairly large. Yeah.
Very cool. So now this new deal on AppSumo for Clearout is an email validation tool. So people who aren't familiar with email validation, how important is it to an agency like yours?
It's extremely important, and it's the first thing that we do with every single client's list, whether they've done single opt-in, they've done double opt-in, regardless of what they've done. We assume that nobody really knows the validity of the list, so we actually do email verification for every single client first thing.
Okay, so if let's say I am a business owner that I don't have an email marketing agency. I've just been collecting emails through my MailChimp account or something like that. Is this tool of value to me, or would it be something that would probably be overkill to, if you know where your emails are coming from? So let me rephrase that a bit, because in your situation, you're taking on a new client and you kind of have to just trust them at their word that their list is validated and it's clean. And so the purpose of validation would be so that when you start sending out emails, that they don't bounce, right? That's the goal here.
Correct. Well, there's actually a large number of reasons to do it. So first of all, we do it quarterly for all of our clients. So some of our clients bring in 20,000 new emails a week. So even with collecting that large volume of emails, people are going to enter emails incorrectly. They're going to enter false emails. They're going to abandon their email addresses. Their inboxes are going to be full. So there are all sorts of reasons that even if you've done the most white hat, above board way of collecting email addresses, you're still going to run into issues of having valid email addresses from people. So it's something we do quarterly for everyone.
So what are the repercussions of sending out emails that are, that have been abandoned or that hit a full inbox? What's the negative side of that?
Yeah, so companies like Google and Yahoo and Outlook and all of the email providers, they all look at your deliverability. And what can happen is there are a couple different things. So one, if you're sending a lot of emails that bounce, one, your email service provider may kick you off because you're sending to too many invalid email addresses. So we've had clients that have had warnings from their email service providers saying, hey, too many of your emails are bouncing or too many people are unsubscribing, so on and so forth. So that's one danger there. The second thing that can happen is people, when they abandon email addresses, this is something Yahoo is actually known to do. If someone doesn't use their email address for a certain amount of time, they'll close that account and they'll turn it into something called a honeypot. So basically, if you send an email to that account, that's kind of the number one trigger for you being identified as spam to other Yahoo users. So, and then the bounces and the biggest thing as far as deliverability is concerned is you want engagement. So not just opens and clicks, but the number one engagement trigger for all of those companies is email replies. So if people aren't receiving, aren't opening, aren't clicking, and aren't replying to your emails, that actually means that you're going to get in the promotions tab. And eventually, for a number of people, you're going to get into the spam tab. And this is something we just recently run into. There's some new filters out there. There are hash-based filters called Razor 2 is one of them. And what that does is it looks at emails and just identifies emails whether or not they look like spam. Doesn't matter about your IP reputation. Doesn't matter about your domain reputation. Doesn't matter about your sender reputation at all. It's basically, does this email look like spam? So there are all these different factors that validation is so important because you don't want to get any of these points against you.
Wow. Very helpful information. Thank you so much for sharing. I think you've kind of already addressed that first question that I had that I kind of doubled back on, but just to hit it head on, do you think this is still a worthwhile process for a small business owner that maybe is not collecting 20,000 emails a week, but maybe they're doing 100 emails a week? Is it still worth it for them to validate those emails?
Yes, absolutely, because everything is proportional. So it's a percentage of the emails you send. So if you send 100 emails and one person marks it as spam, you're actually already over the limit for spam because the normal threshold is 0.2%. For most email services. So everything that you can do, what's that?
You could just have a few cranky people on your list if you only have, 1,000 people on it, and you're going to be in some trouble there.
Correct. So it's all proportional. So the smaller your list, I would say it's, just as important or more important because you want to make sure proportionally the number of emails you're sending are valid.
Makes total sense. So let me ask you, if you can disclose, what company are you currently using to verify your emails?
Yep. So we use two different services. Primarily, we use Bulk Email Checker, and I actually have the prices pulled up here. So I think, what is the deal? It's 500,000 emails on the AppSumo deal for $50.
Yes.
Yeah. So for Bulk Email Checker, I pay $280 for 500 email verifications.
Wow. And
we've also used Bright Verify for 500,000. That'd be $3,000 to verify those emails through Bright Verify, and that's at, a sixth of a cent per email.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess that leads me to, just kind of anecdotally, do you think you are going to be grabbing this AppSumo deal? Do you think you'll be applying the service to your company for your clients?
Absolutely. I mean, for $50 or even $100, I can tell you, even with the large companies we've used, we're still not at 500,000 emails verified. So, in the 2 years that we've been in business and all the clients we've worked with, for $50, we still would have plenty of verifications left. So I'm absolutely going to spend $50 and check this as far as check it against the other services.
Or you could spend $490 and get 5 million verifications with no daily no daily verification limit. So you could run all 5 million emails in one day. I guess that's for when you signed the big like Coca-Cola deal or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things you can do to lower the amount of these things that you use is there's a lot of ways you can look at the behavior of people already on your email list. So a lot of things like we do, we look at clients. If someone's received 10 emails, they've never opened, never clicked, never visited the website, never purchased anything, we just remove those already. So that drastically reduced the cost of bulk verification. So one of our clients, without naming them, they had about 150,000 emails. And when we ran that test, we found that there were 78,000 Russian spam emails in there. So without even having to verify
was
them,
it Donald Trump? You can't say the name of the client, but I'm just kidding.
No. It was a scam for trying to tell them they had an unclaimed Russian bank account with hundreds of rubles in it or whatever. So, but there were close to 80,000 bad emails that we didn't have to verify. We didn't have to spend money on just because we first looked at the behavior of the emails. So, so that's why we never verify nearly as many as we have to, because you can remove so many of them that way.
I think a lot of people will be surprised to hear you say that if people haven't opened the emails, you just delete them, because the money is in the list, Dan. You want a bigger list, not a smaller list. How do your clients react when they find out you're just, undoing their hard work of gathering emails by just killing them quickly? Does anyone object to that process?
Well, we learned the hard way. We've told some clients that, and they're like, no, we don't want to do that. So we never tell them that we would, delete any of their people on their list. Instead, what we do is we say, hey, we're going to remove these risky emails. We're going to put them in an Excel document, and you can keep them for your records. So people like, just even if they're spam emails, they don't want them gone. But as long as you give them in a document and they can keep them somewhere on their, Google Drive or Dropbox, they're very happy with that. So.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all the questions I have. The only thing that I would bring up is, there's some questions or some, I don't know, I guess concern might be too harsh of a word, but there's a lot of people on the AppSumo page raising issue that this is not a true lifetime deal, because you're buying the single credit and you're getting a single code, and you're only getting access until your verification credits run out. Do you think this should be a reoccurring deal? Should you be getting lifetime access for a service like this that doesn't raise any concern for you?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, the servers and the systems that they have to actually do this bulk checking. I mean, that stuff it's not like your normal SaaS where, it can just sit there and not do anything, or sit there and read out information. It's actually having to use a tremendous amount of network traffic.
Sure.
So the costs are very high. But the second thing, I think I told you before, my business for the last 2 years has been working with $100 million a year companies in their email marketing, and I still haven't hit 500,000 verifications. Sure. I've spent more than that, though, because with a lot of these services, you can quadruple the number of validations you need to spend to get it done quickly.
Sure.
So there are times that I've used more. But again, if you follow those rules of look at behavior first and export those people or get rid of those folks first and then validate the rest, I think I'd be surprised. I'd like to meet the person who goes over 500,000 verifications.
They're probably scraping a lot of emails off of, using tools to scrape emails, and they're just getting millions of addresses to do probably nefarious. I mean, these are not going to be, double opt-in emails for sure. All right. Well, thank you very much for your input here, Dan. Really clarifies the tool a lot for me personally, understand more about the importance of it. Tell the people where can they find you if they're interested in hiring a email marketing professional for their e-commerce business. Where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you run an e-commerce business, you're doing at least $1 million a year on your site. We're definitely an agency that can help you grow by 10 to 30%. So you can check us out at yourloyaltribe.com and fill out the form, and we'd be happy to give an audit to your account.
That's great. I'll put a link in the description of this video right to your website so people can head over there and see what you guys are all about. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dan.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
So huge thanks to Daniel for sharing his insights on this deal, as well as email verification in general. Now let's move ahead and talk about the lead finder. I think that's one of the more interesting components of this deal. Let's see how it works. So I've been looking up plastic surgeons. Let's do that. And I'm gonna not really limit myself here. I just wanna find plastic surgeons in the United States. And let's go ahead and submit here. So I got 107 results here. That's pretty close to what I was able to scrape off of Facebook. It looks like most of the addresses are going to be kind of the general inbox. It's not going to reach the doctor themselves. So if I wanted to use this to create a list, I guess I would hit this create list button, and it says plastic surgeons in the United States, and then it creates the list for me. I notice it hasn't taken any credits off yet, so I could trust that this list is valid, but of course, that's not what this tool is about. Let's go over to the My List section here, and I can see here is the list that I just created with 107, and I'll click Verify, and let's see how good a job it does. All right, the results are back here. I will say that it took about 90 seconds for these results to come back, so very speedy. 70 of the 107 email addresses were found to be valid, and 31 were found to be catch-all addresses, which is interesting. Only one was found invalid. So there we go. Those are some pretty good results. It says the deliverability score is 99% accurate. However, the other test that I did had 100% accuracy, so I'm interested in why this one has a slight difference. But there you go. It's a really simple way to scrape and find email addresses. So here's a conversation I just had with Daniel at Loyal Tribe over text message. It says, I ran the same list through Clearout and Bulk Email Checker. Clearout gave 80% of lists a pass, while Bulk Email Checker only 67%. I asked if I should be concerned. He asked what the unknown was from Bulk Email Checker. I just sent him screenshots of the two services. And then he went on to add that Bulk Email Checker is super strict. He keeps the pass and unknown lists and keeps an eye on unknown for a month, and he removes anyone who does not engage with emails at that point. Bulk Email Checker also considers role email addresses as a fail. So anything that starts with info or support will fail on Bulk Email Checker. Then if you look at the numbers, you'll see that 16% of this list is role accounts. So that would make up for the difference with Bulk Email Checker. So now that you're comfortable with the user interface for Clearout, you understand everything the tool is capable of, and you also know the importance of email verification. Thanks again to Daniel at Loyal Tribe for his knowledge. Let's talk about a final rating for this tool. I really like the user interface for Clearout. It's fast and efficient. Uploading lists is easy with the drag and drop functionality. Now that might sound simple, but the other competitors that I've tried don't allow you to drag and drop lists. And I really like how it's so fast to validate. We're talking about an almost 15 times increase over Bulk Email Checker. Add in the lead finder tool, and it's really becoming a no-brainer type of deal for anyone that does email marketing. So I'm gonna give this one a 9.7. I can't find anything wrong with Clearout. I just got to leave a little bit of room because I'm sure a better tool is going to come along in the future. We do Olympic scoring here. There's some questions about how I score tools. It's like the Olympics. You got to leave a little bit of room for the competitors to get in. If you are going to grab a code or 10 for Clearout, make sure you hit the link in the description below. It does kick us back a little bit of money here each time you make a purchase at AppSumo, and it helps me to invest more time and energy into making these LTD review videos for you. Now, if you like the video, make sure you hit like so I know you appreciate the content, and leave me a question or a comment down below. Are you validating emails? Let's talk about it. See you in the next review.